Welcome to the latest edition of Business Spotlight. I'm joined today by Matt Dorrington. He is the founder, the owner, managing director of Blue Moxie, which is a marketing agency based in Kent. Welcome to the call, Matt.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Matt, let's start by telling us a little bit about what you do and why you do it.
Sure. Blue Moxie. Blue is the colour of my favourite team, and Moxie means different in Old English. By the way, the favourite team is Gillingham, so we're not very good.
Not
But
too far away from you as well.
exactly, we are a marketing agency, but we are a little bit different from most. We do pretty much all aspects of marketing, from your digital marketing, that's social media, SEO, to planes with banners being pulled behind and more physical advertising in your face, which we call guerrilla marketing because it's a surprise. And yeah, so that's pretty much a quick summary of what we do.
I'm going to dig into that guerrilla marketing because I've heard of the concept before. Where did that come from? When did you first come across that?
So guerrilla marketing, well, it first came along when I was an apprentice at McDonald's in their marketing department, and it was about doing campaigns that jump out, campaigns that inspire people. So it would be events like, say, people dressed up as a chip box running down the street, just so people record it, put it onto Twitter, and it causes kind of a social fuss. And so that's in short what guerrilla marketing is. And it's kind of impactful, quick marketing, and it works really well for small local businesses.
Is that a large part of what Blue Moxie does, or is it just
Um,
an element of your marketing?
it's an element. It's an element. I would say primarily we most of our clients are taking SEO and social media services. But that is one element of what we do. It's probably a bit of a passion and a bit of a one thing for me that I enjoy doing.
Okay, excellent. Well, sounds very interesting. So we were talking earlier, and you explained that Blue Moxie is actually your second business that
Yeah.
you've owned. I think both being in marketing. Tell us how you moved from one to the other. What's the story behind that?
It's more of about learning curve.
Right.
My first business was started as a sole trader without any documents, without contracts. I had clients without contracts, and obviously I evolved and learned on the job, learning how to run a business. Obviously, I knew the marketing element. It was the business running element that I wasn't too strong in the mind about, and that is the basis of why I've evolved into what I did. I've wanted to start doing everything right from the start, rather having clients that's sitting there without contracts and all sorts of other things like that. It was more about the background mechanics of a business that weren't quite there. But I learned over 6 years of how it should be done, which meant I could start Blue Moxie with my feet on the ground and everything in line.
So what was the main difference when you started Blue Moxie? What was the main thing that you did second time round that you didn't do first time round?
The main thing, I think it was making sure the systems and processes were in place before I even started. I had worked in agencies, I'd worked for corporate companies, and I had issues where I knew what I was doing. I knew what my process was, but I'd never put it on paper. So I couldn't go to a staff member and go, I would just go, right, okay, do this social media. But I've already got my own process that I like and what I do. And I hadn't put stuff like that, just simple things like that down on paper. And
Mm.
then on the flip side from that, the more legal stuff like contracts, making sure clients will have to pay us at the end of the month once we've done our work. Right. And I was leaving myself in position, leaving money on the table where I wasn't
Mm.
utilising legal contracts and yeah, internal documents as well. So I think that was probably the main
I,
thing.
I think a lot of people would recognize themselves in that, in the way you've described it. And perhaps one of the problems is time. You know, if you're starting up a business, you've got so much time pressures. What did you find most of your time was going to in those early days in the first business?
Oh, it was more paperwork, back end documentation, admin work, effectively.
Right.
That's where most of my time was going, and then the other little bit of time I had was going to serve literally at the time the one client I had, which
Mm.
wasn't allowing me time to grow my business. And it wasn't until I managed to break out of that and finish doing all the admin stuff, and then use a VA to do the other admin stuff. It didn't allow me time to grow, and I managed to get past that.
Excellent. And that's an example of learning from previous mistakes. The analogy that I often like to use is that you wouldn't build a house without a plan. You probably wouldn't go on holiday without a plan. You certainly wouldn't have a wedding without a plan. And yet so many people go into their business without one. And
Yep.
one of the elements that you focused on is what other people think, well, surely it's the least important thing, the documentation of what we do. But if the processes aren't written down, then, as you do expand your team, you're constantly having to show them, and therefore using more time, what it is that they need to do without them having the ability to learn. So you hinted that processes is one of the things you've been working at. Can you give us an example of a couple of things that you do in the business that you've had to document, or that you decided to document first?
Well, it's absolutely everything. We have what we call SOPs, system operating processes.
Yeah.
And we got a big folder, and it's literally about that thick. Everything you may do within the business is in there, from SEO to social media, and it's constantly evolving. I have a day a month where I update all of these documents based on algorithm updates and social media updates and new little tricks we've learned, and then little extra steps go in, and it's almost a checklist. And when I go back to my team and say, look, what have you done? They produce these checklists which are digitalized for their purposes, and they can tick it off, and they can say all of these processes have been done within that. And it's not so much a chore, it's more kind of fail safe, making sure everything's been done. So you've gone onto social media, they haven't just posted for a client, they've gone in and engaged with potential clients, they're acting as human as possible, they're replying to other stuff that might not be related to the client's business but shows that the business is there, so the name's popping up, all of that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit more human like rather than a robotic social media campaign. And so all of those little step-by-step things are in there to tick off to make sure they've been done.
And I know this is a leading question, but on a scale of 1 to 10, if you were advising others, how important would you put the documentation process? What number would you give it?
Oh, absolutely 10. Like go up there, sit down. If it takes a month to write those systems. We even have write systems for our clients now. But no, just for the kind of lead generation. So when we're generating leads, one of my first important question is, what's your systems behind? Once I say, hey, here's a phone number and an email, what are you going to go and do with that? Because ultimately, it's important to me to help my clients convert those leads or convert those sales. So even if it's B2B, it's what's your process? How many points of contact? Are you ticking this off? Have you spoken to them about this? So when we come to our monthly meeting, we can go, so how many people you've spoken to? What stage of the funnel have they got to so far? And it allows us to work together more seamlessly and almost kind of integrate into their business as their marketing department.
Matt, that's really interesting. That's music to my ears, because what you've just described there is that you're going beyond your role. So the elements of any business, it doesn't matter if it's B2B, B2C, whether it's services or products, the number of customers that one has depends on two things: the number of leads that are generated into the business, and then how well those leads are converted into sales. So you could argue, well, my job is to generate the leads, then it's over to my customer. But if the customer doesn't understand that actually they have to convert their prospects to each of the next stages, so they come out the other end as a paying customer, then doing themselves a disservice. So I find it fascinating that you work with your clients to say, hey, we're going to get you this far, but thereafter, what are you doing and how well it is? So it's marketing and sales, lead generation and conversion.
They go hand in hand.
Absolutely, they do. It's fascinating. And it's where businesses often fail. I recall, many years ago, I was asked by a company who I ended up working with for quite a long period of time to help them with their marketing campaign. And when I looked at their marketing, what I actually noticed was they had plenty of leads. They just weren't converting them. And that was in a very specialist area. So it wasn't marketing that we ended up focusing on. It was the sales process to get them over the line. So I think that's a fantastic piece of advice to give to any business owner. Of course, documentation plays a part. So all of these systems is happening because you want to take your business somewhere. What do you want it to be for you?
So for me, I enjoy doing the work. I don't I don't want to be one of those people that's going to ever kind of step back from the business. I'm not looking to get out of my business. For me, I get a thrill out of seeing campaigns work. And when they work, I get a high off that. And so for me, I always want to be deep in my business, driving and doing the work. I'm never going to be one of those people that you hear about stepping back from your business, because that's not me. I want to be at the forefront of everything and always looking for new ways to engage and move forward. And even with my current clients, there's certain campaigns I handpick and go, I want to do this one. This is my campaign. Because it's about passion, and that's what you want from your marketing team. There's nothing worse than a marketer that's not interested in the product or the business. And exactly that is when new client comes on board, it's a conversation of who's got a passion for this, who because if you care, you'll be able to promote it more. If you don't care and you're just posting pictures, I don't know, of pet products and pet food or something, and you've got no interest, instead get someone that is a cat or dog lover. It will go and post animal pictures, and they're going to be like, that is so cute, let's do this. And someone to be passionate and really drive a business forward. And that's exactly why you have to be picky with clients as well. Like, who do I want to work with?
You don't want to be more passionate than your client, do you?
No.
If you've got that passion and you're bringing it to, to working with the clients, and they don't have that level of passion, that's not a good place to be. So I can understand why you're picky for the people that you want to work to, and your passion comes across. I don't need to ask you the 1 to 10 question because I already know the answer.
Yeah.
It's coming across really strongly. That's a fantastic answer. Matt, let's one final question. You went into the business, it didn't quite work out as well as you'd like it to. You learned from that, you picked yourself up, you did it again. What piece of advice would you give to somebody, not who's starting out, but who's perhaps already in business, small business, and struggling with the motivation, struggling with the revenue? What advice would you give to them?
I would say possibly learn from your failures and see it as a learning curve. Even in marketing, we not every campaign works. Many times you might have to go back to a client and say, look, this didn't work, but what we're going to do is this. And so everything's about learning from your mistakes, ticking off, okay, I've done this once, let's not do that again because that hurt my bottom line, that hurt the business, that didn't improve this, that had absolutely no effect. You want to take that negative stuff and flip it to positive and go, well, this is what we don't do, and now we do it like this. And that would be my bit of advice. So learn from your mistakes.
Matt, I think that's an excellent point to end on, and I thank you for your call and your time today. Really
No,
enjoyed speaking with you.
no worries at all.
Thank
It was
you.